Today on Judge Faith, there is nothing simple in this fender bender.
I heard the loudest crash, and my whole rear end was smashed. The trunk was up in the air.
But did the plaintiff damage her own car?
I got the hammer from up under the seat and tried to break the window.
The hammer out of her vehicle.
And the confusion grows
He said he was the owner of the car.
as Judge Faith makes sense of this mess.
It makes no sense at all for you to go to the driver who hit this car and damaged it and say,
Right.
you don't owe me any more money, we're done.
And then this chiropractor comes to the judge for an adjustment.
He approached her and said, hey, are you going to pay the bill? He's looking to get his bill paid. She said, no, I'm not going to pay the bill. I've already taken the money that I received from the insurance company and I went and bought a car. So no, I'm not going to pay the bill.
He violated my privacy when he started talking to this man about my medical bills and everything else.
If you're so concerned about it, you report it to the government.
Faith Jenkins. Her distinguished legal career began when she graduated first in her law school class. She quickly became a tough New York City prosecutor and then a preeminent legal analyst on cable news. And now she's the judge in her own courtroom. Her cases are real and her rulings are final. She is Judge Faith. Plaintiff Deborah Miller is suing her neighbor for damages to a car registered in her name. She is accompanied by her witness, Ronald Williams. Defendant LaTanya Gordon says she wasn't driving the car, and the plaintiff is suing the wrong person.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, we have Miller versus Gordon.
Thank you, Barbara. Deborah Miller, you are suing the defendant, LaTanya Gordon, for $3,000 for car damage reimbursement.
That's correct.
And I understand you have a witness with you today, Mr. Ronald Williams.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, tell me about your case, Ms. Miller.
What happened is that on October 31st of 2012, I helped Mr. Williams to get a car in my name since I was able to do it. He was in and out of town. He needed a car for work, and he was kind of like in between jobs.
And what's your relationship with him?
We were dating.
Okay, you aren't anymore?
We were dating. He's my ex now. But anyway, but we're still good friends.
Okay.
We're still friends. And on June the 11th, I got a call from him saying that someone had hit the car.
Wait, excuse me, Your Honor, can I
Well,
intervene?
were you there when your car was hit?
No, I wasn't there. I just got a call from Mr. Williams saying that the car had been hit.
Okay, you were there and you witnessed this incident.
Yes, I was,
Okay,
ma'am.
tell me what happened.
On the day in question, I was looking out of my window, and I heard the loudest crash. And I looked out the window, and I saw the defendant and a family member exiting her vehicle, and my whole rear end was smashed. The trunk was up in the air, and the family member had his hands on his head saying, oh my God, and she said, well, look what you did. What was you thinking?
Was she in the car when you saw the accident?
She was getting out of the car on the passenger side. She wasn't driving. I said, man, look what you did to my car. What are you gonna do? So I commenced to call the police to make a police report. This is the only way I have transportation I have.
What kind of car is it?
It was a 95 Cadillac Sedan DeVille, like brand new. I have pictures to prove it.
Okay, and what happened?
How you doing, Miss Faith?
Good.
Okay, on the night of the accident, I wasn't in the car. I was sitting on the porch when what had happened, my
Family member
asked me for a jump. He gave his own self a jump because his car had went dead. He was in the park the whole time. In some type of way, he said he had the car in drive, and he put his feet on the accelerator, went into his car.
Okay.
That's when he came out. I was on the porch the whole time. I wasn't in the car at the time.
Do you have photos of the car and the
Yes, I
damages?
do, Your Honor.
May I see them? So you call the police. Do we have these on the flat screen? Oh, wow. That's a lot of damage. When did you come onto the scene? So I understand that the car wasn't in your name.
Not at the time, Your Honor.
it was in my
It
name.
was in your name, Ms.
Yes.
Miller. So what happens? He contacts you,
He
and what
called me
happens?
that night to tell me that the car was in the accident. I said, don't play with me.
I'm on the phone.
You know, because I mean, the car's in my name, I don't want to be sued. So I said, well, do you need me to come? He said, no, you don't have to come, I got this. I said, no, if it's in my name, I need to be there.
So what happened when you get, what
When I
happened?
got
What did you
there,
observe?
it was a young family member came up to Ronald and said that he was sorry for the accident and he would try to do what he could to correct it. So I asked the police for the report. The police gave me the report, and I said, well, who is the owner of the car? That's who I need to see, is the owner of the car. and do they have insurance? Because Ronald had insurance on his car, but it was only liability.
What happens
so,
next?
The police gave me the report. So when I looked on the report, I said, well, I see Ronald's insurance, but where's the young lady that owns the car? Where's her insurance? And he said, it's right there. I said, well, there's no number or anything. And the next day, I called the insurance company. They had no knowledge of her, no record or anything of having insurance with the company.
So were you insured on the date of this accident?
Your Honor, when the accident occurred, I just had got my car 3 days ago. I had to get insurance to leave off the lot with it. I had temporary insurance.
Okay, so do you have proof that you had temporary insurance on the date of this accident?
Now, no, I doesn't.
Okay.
But in the police report, when the police came, I showed them what I had, my insurance. I showed them what I had. He said he was the owner of the car. I ain't know nothing about her.
Your Honor, if I may speak, I called her the next day, which was June the 12th, and I said, Miss Gordon, I just called the insurance company. And when I called them, they said they had no knowledge of you. They even asked me for her address. I gave them the address. She said, well, hold on. I'm getting ready to get on the phone with them right now. I'll get back to you. She never got back to me.
Okay, so why didn't you get back to her when she tells you that you say you have insurance, it's temporary, right. She tells you they're saying you're not covered. Did you contact your insurance company?
Yes, I contact my insurance. They said they ain't never speak to no one about the car accident.
Well, I don't think she would. I mean, she wants to get the damage covered on her car, so I don't think she's lying saying that the insurance company said that they don't have any record of you. There's something going on.
I had temporary insurance, Judge Faith.
Okay, but once you find out that a lawsuit is being filed against you, did you not contact your insurance company and say, I need your help to cover damage?
Yes, I did.
And what happened?
And they had sent me a piece of paper to restate my insurance, the full coverage, because it was temporary insurance at the time.
And it had expired?
Yeah, it had expired.
Okay, so you did not have insurance the date of this accident? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
And what about the driver of the car? Where is he today?
He's not here.
Coming up on Judge Faith, the plot thickens as the damage increases.
And you tried to break the windows in your own car?
I tried to break the window, and if I had a chance, if the tow truck had came, I would go ahead them to tow it away and tell them to give me $300. Yes, I did.
And later,
He found out I was in a car accident, so he started coming over saying, hey, you should see my friend, he's a chiropractor.
Did she make any payments to you at all for the services she was receiving, for the treatment?
No.
Plaintiff Deborah Miller and her witness Ronald Williams are suing for damages to a car. Defendant LaTanya Gordon says she wasn't driving the car.
Is there any particular reason why you only sued the defendant and not the driver of the car?
Well, I sued her because the last conversation we had, she said, well, you could go ahead and sue me. And I said, okay, that's what I'll do.
Mr. Williams, you reached out to the defendant's family member.
Yes, I did.
And at some point, you say he agreed to pay for damages.
Yes, I have a
Tell
written
me about
agreement
that.
that he signed. He was willing to pay me in between $3,000 and $4,000 for the damage of my vehicle. He paid me a total of $600. And then this person,
I beg your pardon?
well, Miss Miller, got upset at me about something she had nothing totally to do with.
I got upset, Your Honor, because of the fact that I had got a red light ticket on the car, I had got another ticket on the car, and all of this is coming in my name.
But I paid.
And I had told Ronald from day one, I said, Ronald, you have to get the car in your name.
What I got to do?
But after that accident, that really ticked me off. And then when I found out that he had made an agreement about the car,
He made an agreement with the defendant's family member?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I
You
did.
found out about it, and what happened?
I found out about it, and then I found out he had actually got some money. I was infuriated. I was infuriated because the fact the car was in my name.
Okay, the family member gives him $600.
Right.
Why are you upset about that?
Because he didn't tell me.
It was none of your business.
It was my business. The car was in my name.
was
But because he knew I was in the process
But it was my
of talking
car.
to Miss Gordon to try to, get the money from her as far as legally through her insurance.
So what did you do when you found out that someone was giving him money? What did you do?
What I did, I was so infuriated and mad. I called the young man and told him he didn't have to pay Ronald anything else. By me being the owner and Miss Gordon was the owner, I felt that's the route we should have taken.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand this. The date of the accident.
It was in my name.
It was in your name.
Yes, ma'am.
But the insurance
was in my
in
name.
your name. And then you go to the defendant's relative who was driving the car.
Right.
And you tell that person they don't have to pay you any more money
she
for
didn't tell him.
damages?
She showed him this.
Yes.
Let me see that, Barbara.
And
Now, because you want to get the damages paid for your car, so why would you have another the driver actually sign a document saying that he doesn't have to pay you anything
Because
else?
I felt that I needed to go legally, that I had to go to the owner of the car and not through the person that actually hit the car.
Okay, so if you want to do that, but why would you have them sign a
Because I was
document?
angry at the time.
Angry about what?
I was angry.
What were you angry about? What
There was
made
some
you
personal
go?
stuff that was going on. We was in the midst of breaking up. There was a lot of problems that was going on. And I told him to give me the keys to the car. He wouldn't give me the keys to the car. So
Okay, because now you're making sense, because it makes no sense at all for you to go to the driver who hit this car and damaged it and say,
Right.
you don't owe me any more money, we're done.
Right.
Well, Your Honor, tell her about what you did, about the hammer.
Oh. I was so angry. I wanted to get the keys to stop, in order for him to get the car into his name. And so I said, well, Ronald, give me the keys or you get the car changed in your name.
What did you do?
So he came to the car and said, what do you want? I said, I want the keys. He said, that's not going to happen. And he got in the car and proceeded to drive off, and I got the hammer from up under the seat and tried to break the window.
The hammer out of her vehicle.
I said, I might.
More like a mallet, you know?
It was a hammer.
And you tried to break the windows in your own car?
I tried to break the window, and if I had a chance, if the tow truck had came, I would go ahead them to tow it away and tell them to give me $300. Yes, I did.
How long had you guys been in a relationship?
We have been in a relationship maybe 2.5 years. I've known her 32 years. We go to the same church lady.
Okay.
You're on.
Church man.
Okay. And what's going on with the two of you now?
We're just friends.
Do you still love him?
What's love got to do with it?
I'm just asking.
Do you still love me?
Yeah.
You don't love me. I guess I don't love him.
Apparently.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Okay, he don't love me, so no, I don't love him. But he just saying that, but he didn't say that yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow, okay.
What happened yesterday?
Let's be for real, or will? Let's be for
Yesterday
real.
was her birthday, Your Honor.
It's a strange
yes.
twist.
What I have to do with it, even though it was my car, I don't have anything to do with it. They got some relationship issues going on. You see that now, Judge Faith?
Coming up, Judge Faith rules. And then,
I lied to Jim and said, no, I didn't receive it. They're not paying me for the chiropractor. He calls me and says, hey, leaves a message on my phone saying, hey, you know, we talked to your adjuster and they said they did pay you for the bill.
plaintiff Deborah Miller is suing her neighbor for damages to a car registered in her name. Defendant LaTanya Gordon says she wasn't driving the car.
Have you been driving the car?
I was, yes.
Okay.
With the duct tape on the trunk.
So you brought me an estimate of damages to the car in the amount over $7,000. But when you look at the Blue Book value of the car, ranges from $1,500 to $3,500.
Right, correct.
Okay. My judgment in this case is for the plaintiffs. I'm going to award you the Blue Book value of the car if it were clean, which is $2,062. I'm going to subtract from that amount the $600 the defendant's family member paid to you and award you a judgment in the amount of $1,462 plus your court costs.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Plaintiff Dr. Brad Gunderson is suing his former patient for unpaid medical bills. Defendant Jade Haynes says the doctor violated her privacy rights, so she's not paying.
Okay, Dr. Brad Gunderson?
Yes.
You are suing the defendant Jade Haynes
Yes.
for $1,875 for unpaid medical bills?
Yes.
Okay, what's going on here, doctor?
Jade was a patient of mine. She was referred in by a mutual friend of ours into my chiropractic office.
That's not true, Your Honor. He's not a mutual friend.
Okay, well, I'll get to your side in a second, Ms. Haynes. Let me hear from the doctor
Okay,
first.
so a mutual associate of ours.
When was that, doctor?
That was back in November 6th, 2013.
What type of doctor are you?
Chiropractor.
Okay.
She came into the office for a car accident that happened on September 24th of 2013.
So you started treating her as your patient at that time?
Yes.
Okay, and how long
Yes.
was she your patient?
She was my patient until December 18th that same year, so about a month and a half.
So only a month, and you saw her how many times during
About
that
10
month and a half
visits.
period? I'm sorry?
10 visits.
And during those 10 visits, did she make any payments to you at all for the services she was receiving for the treatment?
No.
And why was that?
The car accident was not her fault. So the third party was going to settle the claim at the end of the case, so we put it on a lien basis. I had referred her over to an attorney. She went over and signed up with this attorney, and that was going to help to settle the case.
What do you mean by lien basis?
That means that she would be able to pay the bill at the end of the case. After a few weeks, she went back to the attorney and fired him, so she no longer used his services. And so now she was on her own to pay the case after the case settled.
Okay, and at some point you find out that she's received some kind of payment, and what happens?
Right. Once we're done with the case, got a hold of the third-party insurance company.
Your Honor, that's not true. He got a hold of his friend.
Okay, tell me what happened.
So what happened was I got in a car accident. I was a manager at a yogurt land. There was a guy that owned a He found out I was in a car accident, so he started coming over saying, hey, you should see my friend. He's a chiropractor. Don't go to the one that you're going to if he makes you feel uncomfortable. See this guy.
What's his name?
His name is Jim. I kind of put it off. I was like, no, I don't want to go see him. I'll just continue with mine. One day he just comes in and he's like, I'm going to take you to see this guy. And I was like, no, he's like, no, I'll drive you there so you don't have to drive. I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. I don't know you. You're driving me. I get there, I signed paperwork to start the services with him. All in all, when it came down to it and I owed him money, the guy was approaching me saying, if I don't pay, then he's gonna have to pay, and he can't use his services until I pay.
Well,
That's
hold on a
not
second.
true.
You saw Dr. Gunderson for a month and a half, right?
Correct. Mhm.
And so you knew that you would have to pay
Correct, and my plan
for
was-
the 10 or so times that you saw
Yes.
him. So my question is, why didn't you pay him?
Because he violated my privacy when he started talking to this man about my medical bills and everything else. The guy kept approaching me saying, if I don't pay, I'm gonna be sued in court and they're gonna
Jim,
take
this
a lien out on my house if you don't pay. And I'm like, what does that have to do with you?
No,
I don't even know you.
Who is
No.
Jim? Do you know Jim?
Yeah, Jim owns a from where she was working. He would go in there quite often to get yogurt. They became friends. The reason why he came in there and talked to her is because I wanted to get my bill paid and I didn't want to take her to court. So I said, Jim, do you ever see her? He said, yeah, when I see her, I'll go talk to her. He saw her outside one time. He approached her and said, hey, are you going to pay the bill? He's looking to get his bill paid. She said, no, I'm not going to pay the bill. I've already taken the money that I received from the insurance company and I went and bought a car. So no, I'm not going to pay the bill.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
Her insurance company sent her a check.
Yes.
Which she found out from Jim, because Jim approached me the first time after I received it saying, hey, did you receive the settlement?
not
I
true.
lied to Jim and said, no, I didn't receive it. They're not paying me for the chiropractor.
That's
he
not
went
true.
back to the guy, he went back to him. He calls me and says, hey, leaves a message on my phone saying, hey, we talked to your adjuster and they said they did pay you for the bill. After that, I still was avoiding him. Jim started coming to my job asking my employees
So I don't
when I'm
understand
gonna be at work.
if you think, even if it's true that Jim was having discussions with the doctor, you still were treated 10 times by
Yeah,
the
but it's
doctor.
violating my privacy.
So then make a report. That's what you do. But you don't not pay someone for services that you've already had. Like, he treated you for a month and a half without getting paid. So you owe him for that medical
But he's
treatment.
not wrong for telling me that.
Report it to HIPAA.
But what about
make
the guy
a
that
claim,
said he
make a report.
co-signed?
What'd you do with the money?
I bought a car because I needed a car.
Okay, so why don't you just say, I wanted to buy a car
Yeah,
with
I
the
needed
money
to buy
instead
a
of saying
car,
he
and I was gonna
violated
pay
my
him,
rights?
but before I
Because if
even
you
got
were
the
so
chance-
concerned about it, you report it to the government. Then you report it to HIPAA. The fact that you did none of those things tells me that it either didn't happen or you weren't that concerned about it and you just wanted to keep the money for yourself, which you cannot do.
I wasn't concerned at the point, ma'am. I didn't even know. That's not true. Why would I sit here and lie and say that this guy co-signed? I wouldn't even be here. I would just pay my bill. It could go to collections. But this guy's telling me they're going to put a
So is
lien out
that
on
your
his
only
house.
reason, ma'am, for not paying
Yes, that he violated my privacy laws.
$1,875
Correct.
for the medical treatment that the doctor gave you?
That's correct.
Okay, I find that to be insufficient. You pay him for the medical services that he provided to you, $1,875. Pay the doctor.